With all the controversy going on, we're starting 2024 off with a bang. And regardless of what you may or may not have seen, there is a rising trend in the Genshin community that we just want to make the game better. And to be honest with you, we tried this over a year ago as a vocal minority of the things that we want to see improved in Genshin, quality of life or otherwise, and well, we were just kind of shut down. So hey, 2 years later and we'll give this another go, and I hopefully have made it past the 30-second mark for YouTube because go ahead, because some of these it's so unskippable dialogue. Now, this is going to be probably the most contentious one on this list because I understand a lot of you really love the story of Genshin. You enjoy it thoroughly and wholeheartedly, and that is amazing. I love it too. But here is the thing about unskippable dialogue. We now have data based on Sumeru and the lengthy dialogues inside of Sumeru in a negative correlation with player retention. More players quit during Sumeru than any other time in Genshin Impact. Even though I had some of the best changes to the combat system and ease of access for free-to-play players with the Dendro element to do incredibly powerful things with Hyper Bloom, Bloom, Burgeon, etc., most players quit then. There is nothing worse than a new event coming out in Genshin Impact only to realize that, yes, I'm a veteran player and I understand this is one of the shorter events. We're going to be jumping through hoops or playing as slime Pokemon or doing something minuscule. And it's going to take maybe 15 minutes of actual gameplay to do that. And then having to sit through 20 to 30 minutes of unskippable dialogue for the most homely NPC I've ever seen. They need to get off their high horse when we have awesome games with, let's be honest, in my opinion at least, better storylines, better characters, and better villains, like with Final Fantasy XIV Shadowbringers, where you can skip every single cutscene if you want to, because the developers value your time over their own egos. That's what this speaks to me, is you can't skip our cutscenes because we made them, they're so good, we don't give you the option to skip them. I hate that because it directly influences who is allowed to play your game, right? Maybe you only have an hour of game time a day. You want to go play Genshin Impact, do your dailies, and then you want to do the new event. You have to sit there for 30 minutes so you can do the event, and you're just dying to play the game, but you can't. Genshin's this super casual game with an open-ended experience. You can go enjoy the world, run around, catch butterflies, do whatever it is at your leisure until it comes to new events and new quests, and then your leisure, there's no leisure here. You have to literally watch our horrendously lengthy cutscenes and horrendously lengthy unskippable dialogues. And this is a big thing that's actively harming the game, and they have to have enough information and feedback statistically now that it is, and they still don't care. It just blows my mind that they would have that stance still and do nothing at all to change it. There's no way to watch old cutscenes in like a tomb of journals or something, or at your house or whatever. Nothing, absolutely nothing for players who want to play the game at their leisure and go and watch the cutscenes later. Absolutely nothing at all, and it just blows my mind. We're 3 years into here, and the biggest problem that this game suffers still hasn't been addressed by the developers. Number 2, we have resin. This is a system that has largely gone unchanged since Genshin was introduced. There was one little change they added way back in the day, which was a good positive change, which was the condensed resin system, where you could take some of your resin and save it for later. Now, you can't use this condensed resin on everything in Genshin Impact. Some things need straight up actual original resin, like world boss monsters and stuff, and you can't use your condensed on that. But outside of this, there has been no large changes to Genshin Impact over this, and I know they have sent out so many. I feel like I've done 5 million surveys for this game, literal 5 million. And every single time, it's like, we need to do something with the resin system. We need to do something with the resin system. It is one of the most complained about things, or some sort of quality of life update to the resin system, because we have so many different things to spend resin on now, and they've done nothing about it. And something needs to be done about this. Even if it's just like an overflow cap system, that would be okay. We see this in Honkai Star Rail, a game that isn't even a year old at this point and has already introduced quality of life for their resin system. If you're capped out on your energy, you start getting a second energy that's like an overcap energy. It's not as efficient as if you were going from 0 to 160 resin. but you still get something there. You can save it all up if you take a break or whatever, and you can come back, and instead of just having your 160 energy, you will have much more than that, where you can go practically farm up an entire character, all of the talent materials, all of the ascension materials you would need to take a character from 0 to max level, which, as you know, is a fair amount, by the way, and you can almost max them out just with all of this reserved energy that the Star Rail system does have. And while it's not exactly the amount you need to max them out in every circumstance, I understand that, but it's close enough, and it's way better than just not having that system at all. Quality of life for artifacts is also something that they've been slowly increasing over time, but it's always been in the most marginal ways, almost like they're getting literally beat to put it into the game. They're doing like the bare minimum to make this more accessible or manageable or useful to anyone that plays Genshin Impact. And they've added stuff, they've added ways with the strong boxes to target certain artifact sets, but honestly, this is pretty decent, but it's not enough. How many times have you made strong boxes and gotten absolutely nothing out of them, even though you shoved in like 400 artifacts? And that's because one of the main things with artifacts in Genshin Impact is there's so many combinations of main stats and substats that it's about time that we got some sort of quality of life where we can re-roll an artifact, or you can re-roll a substat, or you can change one main stat on like a sands or a circlet or a goblet to another main stat. Giving yourselves extra opportunities at your 5-star sets with the strong boxes is cool. But once again, this is something that not Tower Fantasy, Honkai Star Rail, but Honkai Star Rail already has some quality of life that's even better than Genshin's for this, with the resin remoldered things where you can craft different artifacts with the main stat of your choice. And these are gifted out through things like the battle pass or events. They're rare, but they're not in the game. They exist. Why can't we have something like that? Why is that something that we can't get after 3 years in Genshin, considering that we're a casual game and there's nothing to do at endgame anyway? Oh, speaking of endgame, don't get me started. Baby boys, baby girls, check it out. The Spiral Abyss just reset. I'm gonna go get my free rewards. What can I get from endgame this reset, bro? We have like 2 to 3 weeks to do this still. Let's go check out the amazing rewards, because this has been updated constantly every phase since the launch of Genshin. So surely the rewards are different at this point. What do we get? What do we get for beating everything? Oh, what is it, like 150? It's 50 Primo Gems per chamber. It's not 60. It's not 55. It's not a number that would equate to 160 Primo Gems for beating all 3 floors. It's not even one pull, and you get a strong box with a random 5-star. This has been the epitome of what there is, what the game has been designed for you to do with your characters at max level, is to do chamber 9, 10, 11, and 12 every single reset. And let's be honest, if you've been playing the game for at least a couple of months, right, it's not like it was at the launch of Genshin, where 9 and 10 actually felt like they were semi-difficult. 9 and 10 have these dudes that just sort of fall over and die. Most of the time, I can't even get through a full rotation with my teams that I take in here, which is super off meta stuff, by the way. I'm not cracking with C6 Kazuha Hyper Carry, C6 Raiden Shogun, all right? This just falls over, and it's not even content at this point. It's as difficult as going out to wild hilly trails, sometimes easier. These dudes are level 76, by the way, and doing stuff in the wild. So that's 2 of the floors for our Abyss. 11's typically pretty easy, right? And they always give out some bonus to the new banner character. And then 12 varies between, you know, unnecessarily hard to super easy sometimes, to sometimes downright bullshit because your enemy just flies around or digs underground for forever and just ignores you for like 60% of the fight. You guys remember that shit? Remember when they added a monster that just burrowed under the ground? I got 36 stars. I'm not complaining because I couldn't beat it, but damn, that is the dumbest shit I've ever seen added to this game. And that's all we ever got. We didn't get anything extra. We didn't get some sort of roguelike thing what they added in Simulated Universe, even though we had roguelike events in Genshin Impact, right? Like Misty Dungeon. Remember Misty Dungeon and how we were like, wow, Misty Dungeon's pretty cool. I can see that they're doing this as like a test for like a new kind of game mode where you can try out characters and like get some different buffs while you're going through the dungeon and fight different enemies, and it's sort of randomized. That's really, really cool. I wonder what they're gonna do. Is that gonna be like a permanent mode in Genshin Impact? Are they gonna do anything at all with that? Nope, they're gonna do anything at all with that at all. You know what they're gonna do with that? They're gonna add it to Honkai Star Rail, call it Simulated Universe, make it better, make it even more interesting, upgrade it a couple of times, have ways for you to gain free currency through that awesome roguelike game mode that is repeatable and allows you to just kind of play the game in so many different ways that if you just like combat, you can just play Simulated Universe for forever. It might not be your cup of tea. Maybe you like the cutscenes and stuff and the storyline mode more, which is fine, but there's some people who like to also, I don't know, hit shit with the weapons that they get, and this doesn't cut it for them. But they added that to Honkai Star Rail and upgraded it and added a new version and added another new version and added more versions of the Spiral Abyss and all this other stuff. And did I mention that game's not even a year old yet? I don't think. Did I mention that this game's like 3 years old already? Did I mention that? Did I mention how this hasn't been updated at all? At all? Outside of the ley line flow will be normal. Y'all remember this joke? You remember this joke? How cool it was that she was coming out and we were gonna get a free 5-star character. You remember that? You remember how cool this was when Aloy got added? It was a collaboration like in 1.2 or 1.3, and they gave her a bow. They gave her a collaboration bow, but even that kind of made no fucking sense because the Predator, you have to be connected to the freaking mother PlayStation Network for this effect to work. You remember that? Kind of neat, kind of interesting. Do you remember how we were like, dang, I can't wait till it gets rerun or there's a part 2 to this event? Because if you look her up, dude, the star of Another World, the time has not yet come for this person's corner of the night sky to light up. The time is never going to come for Aloy's constellations to light up, all right? The time will never come. It'll never come. Ever. Why don't we get cool stuff? This could have been super cool. Why don't we see free characters like the Traveler we got access to, right? You can say what you want about them. They change around a little bit. Some of them are very useful, like the Dendro one. Why don't we get cool collaboration 5-star characters? If you want to make them free and have them have fully unlocked constellations and make it a really long event and do like 4 years of Kojima-esque Metal Gear Solid unskippable cutscenes and dialogues to get all constellations for it, and you make it like a month-long event, that would be really cool. That would be really cool. But instead, we get Aloy, and they literally have not updated her, and they never will. It'll never happen. It'll never happen. And speaking of 5 stars and events and stuff, and I know we're going to talk about Dr. Ratio, and I'm not having that whole discussion about why is this the best? I'm not doing it, all right? But what I will say is for a game that loves to give you the incentive to pull multiple 5-star characters for early constellations now, like Lingering Lifeline. Is this game breaking? Is it game breaking if you have Lingering Lifeline as an additional charge for Yelan? Is it game breaking? No, but it's a very cool thing that you can do and get around the world faster. Is it game breaking if you have C2 to get a little extra Hydro application, a little extra damage from your Yelan? Is it game breaking? No, but it's very, 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 very good, right? Is it game breaking for you to have C1 and C2 of Frina? No, but it makes her definitely objectively in a much better character somehow, even though she's already a fantastic character. This C2 literally lets you have over 100,000 HP on your build. This build that I have right now with 40k, if I just had C2, I'd have 100,000 HP. It's definitely a cool thing. Do you need any of these constellations to do the invisible endgame content that exists in Genshin Impact? No, you don't even need any 5-star characters to beat the Abyss, which means that we're left with what we pull for characters that we like and we enjoy. Can we agree on that? I pull for characters that I like and I enjoy. I'm sure you pull for characters that you like and you enjoy. You know what would be really, really, really cool is if maybe like once a year for anniversary, or maybe twice a year, right? Once for anniversary, once for Chinese New Year or something. I don't know. What if, hazard this guess, since none of the constellations in our character actually matter for the content that's existing in this game, check this out. Hear me out real quick. What if once or twice a year, we got a constellation item that allowed you to unlock any constellation in an order on a 5-star of your choice? So if I was C3 and had this constellation unlocker, I could get C4, right? If I was C0, like I am on Frina, I could get C1. This would be very awesome and very helpful. And not only is it just free shit, but hear me out. Here's a second part of it. How many times have you guys been like, man, I really want that character, but I don't want that character unless it's C1. man, I'd really pull for that character, and maybe I even spend like $100 on that character, but I don't want to get her or use her because I want like Raiden Shogun to C2, because I want to make her the best damage dealer I can make her Raiden Shogun, and everything falls short on my damage unless I have C2. What if instead of not pulling for Raiden Shogun or Nahida or whatever the character it is that you want to play, but you only want to play them at a certain constellation, what if they gave you 2 of these things and Raiden came out and you were like, damn, if I got Raiden Shogun, if I pulled her, if I paid money for her, I could get her C2. I saved up the whole year for my constellation selectors or whatever, and I can get her C2 right off the bat. Wouldn't that be fucking cool? Wouldn't that be awesome? Yeah, that's not gonna happen though. Wanna know why? Because all we get is Aloy. Where is she? And she doesn't even get constellations. That's the best kind of thing we're gonna get. Speaking of ways to play, you know what I like doing? You know what we used to do all the time on stream when we streamed this game all the time to a couple hundred people over and over and over? You know what I'd love to do for new players? I would love to go in and do co-op with them. I always wanted to make my account more co-op friendly so I could carry people with whatever sort of team that we wanted to play, go in there, 2 of my characters, 2 of your characters, let's go farm stuff up and have fun that way. It wouldn't cost me resin because I just wouldn't get anything. I was just there to help. I loved doing co-op that way, and I still kind of like doing it now. It's a very interesting experience. Genshin Impact has laid all of the groundwork it needs, all of it, to have a kind of cool co-op experience for domains or dungeons. You might call them raids, some sort of cool, interesting multiplayer content. They tried this way back in the day with the Albedo event. You remember the cryo Registine thing that was like scaled way too hard? It was almost like, it was like 10 times harder in co-op for some reason. Like they scaled the stats to just be that much higher. Like they didn't know what the fuck they were doing, because I don't think they did. They stopped after that. They like messed up one time with a co-op thing and was like, oh, we'll never do that again. I don't know, maybe you should try it again and not give it billions of HP. I'm not sure. Maybe you should try that. Maybe you should try it. Maybe you shouldn't go in here and here's the real kicker. This is part of the groundwork. Check me out. We're ranting. It's great. Check this out. Go to some of the old characters in your account. Go to any of the old characters, the old 4-stars, whatever, right? And look for some characters that do healing or shielding, right? So let's go ahead and let's talk about C2 Diona. You can start shielding other party members. If you don't have her C2, she doesn't shield other people in co-op. She's just gonna shield herself or your own team. And if you're playing co-op with 4 people, your Diona's just shielding herself. Literally, you can't even swap because you're playing 4-player co-op. This is something that they have instituted and thought about, and they've done nothing with it. They've done absolutely nothing with it. And when we talk about endgame co-op, it doesn't mean it has to be difficult. Go look at floors 9, 10, and 11. That's endgame right in Genshin Impact right now. And check this out. You could even make it a system to introduce veteran players to helping out new players. You could also make it rewarding. If you ever played Final Fantasy 14 or any other typical game that has something like this, like a mentor system, there could be like a mentor system in Genshin Impact, and there'd be certain requirements that you'd have to do to be in it. Maybe you have to beat all of the Spiral Abyss or whatever for the week or multiple times, or do co-op X amount of times. You could start being in this mentor system that would help you group up with other players who need help because they're new and they're trying to do harder domains or unlock harder, get their 5-star artifacts for the first time. There's so much stuff that you could do with this, and they've literally done nothing with the multiplayer system at all in Genshin Impact. It blows my mind. It blows my mind that this game came out at a time where everyone was locked down in their houses, yearning for something to do with other people, yearning for any amount of interactability whatsoever. That Genshin Impact, the co-op we have right now, where we just kind of pop in, say hi to a couple people, maybe throw some hilly trolls off the cliff. That was good enough. That was good enough then. It's not anymore, all right? It's not anymore. We get a little more human interaction now, all right? It's not just me walking around the sandy beach in basically a weird VR chat, okay? We don't need it. I'm not even gonna touch the banner system. Like, it's not gonna get changed 3 years in. I'm not gonna waste my time on it. Screw the weapon banners though. These suck. You could love it, you could hate it, but that's the truth. That's my opinion, guys. Drop that sub. Let me know what you think down below, and I'll see you in the next one.